make sure this is on all the way. Here we go. Okay. I think that's looking pretty good. We still, hey Mary, it's good to see you. Want to give people a couple of minutes to log in? Hey Shireen. Let's see what we got here. And hello, Kelly. I'm so happy that you were able to figure out what was going on as far as you being able to log in, you know? Let's see here. Hey, Mike. And Rosa. Woo! It's so good to see everybody. Hi, Jean. Rosa wants to be. Yay! Joy to figure it out. So, Rosa, if you hear me, I'm adding you. That's awesome. Okay. So we still have like another minute. Make sure everybody, signal looks pretty good here. Oh, we have a lot of people logging in, so it's really nice. Mwah, Jean. So Rosa, if you're hearing me, I am adding you. You have to accept it. There she goes.
Hola.
Yay! So you stay put. You stay put. All righty. So let me see. Oh, still maybe just a couple of minutes to go. Not even a minute. Like, I wanted the atmosphere to look real spooky here today, and I can't seem to get it all in. You know what I mean? The whole Halloween Samhain thing going on here. Had to do something. I'm wearing Jack Skellington today. Had to do it. All right, everybody. So it is 5 o'clock, and I know a lot of people will just be logging in. I have to admit, I just made it here because I go to see my mom, who's in a facility in the city. So it took a while to get, you know what I mean? Yep. And as Tommy's going, he did the driving. So, but we just made it here. So I'm so happy I was to make it here on time. Hello, Virginia and Starlet. It's good to see you. So my guest today is Rosa Torres. So say hi to everybody. Rosa does readings here on Wednesdays, or most Wednesdays, or by appointment. So if anybody's interested in getting Reiki from Rosa or tarot, contact me at Breed's Closet or in the comments here, and then we can schedule the appointments according to her schedule. All righty, because she lives in the next county from us, so we have to do it by appointment. So if you're interested in that, let me know, contact me here, and then we could kind of take it here. So, it's good to see so many people logging in here. And today's subject or topic, as we mentioned last week, is mediumship and divination. Now, some people will automatically go, wow, that's a natural, mix there. And some people would say they're totally different. Oh, look at all those hearts going up there. To me, it wasn't all that natural in the beginning. Now, I don't want to speak for you, Rosa, and you have other things to add in onto this. Because at first, and, Rosa and I have been together way too long to even mention here, because, we'd be giving our ages away. By the way, happy birthday. Happy birthday, girl.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
So, yeah, we're only a couple of weeks apart. But anyway, in the beginning, when I started doing tarot, and I think it was about 18 or so, and I was introduced the first time over at Lady Ria's place, called Enchantments. And for any of you people who might know that, it was an old punk in the day, and the village was my place to hang out. And it was actually through Enchantments that I got my first books on Wicca, and I met a lot of people and would do ritual there and in Central Park, if anybody remembers the New Moon group. And by the way, happy new moon. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it got my start because I saw the tarot cards. I began to get very interested, and who would have figured that, many years later, I found that my grandmother did them. So maybe that was maybe that's what did it. Maybe she was poking me in spirit to go, hey girl, guess what? It's about time you do something along those lines. But in the beginning, and I don't know how it was for you, Rosa, I didn't start picking up the mediumship stuff until much later. I think I was already doing the tarot at least 10 years before I started to hear. Now, I always could in my dreams. And hello, Michelle. I could always hear in my dreams, subconscious, if I was by myself, if I was meditating, or if I was in a circle. Hello, Nicole. I'm trying to make sure I touch on everybody that takes their time out to see us. But it was at least 10 years. And then after a while, I started to hear, right? I think it was hearing, Rosa. At first, I started to
Yeah.
hear. And Rosa's been
Yeah.
with me since the
Auditory.
development of this. Yeah. And then from hearing, it was smell. And I can't see for shit, excuse me. I can't hear for shit, but my sense of smell and taste is acute. And I started to smell. I would smell cigarette smoke or particular flower or perfume. And now it seems to come very naturally to me. So as I open up a card, if somebody is there with the client and they want to be seen or heard, then they'll kind of jump out and say, hey, poke, 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 poke. It's like, listen, I'm here. You know what I mean? Because spirits want attention
Right.
as well. And hello, Michelle Griffin. We have a lot of people here. Tina, yay. Um, with that in mind, it started to come very easily. And the more I did it, the more I acknowledged their presence, the easier it seemed to be. But I'm not the type of medium that will say, hey, who do you want to talk to today? Yeah, and if the client wants grandma and some great aunt comes in, there's nothing I can do about that. So that's the reason why I don't necessarily call myself a medium, because I think the expectations of people are different. What do you think, Rosa? I mean, like, what's your experience with that?
With the mediumship,
Yeah,
um, yeah, that comes with time.
yeah.
Because my grandmother was a medium,
Mm-hmm.
and it was I kind of look up to her
Right.
and learned a lot from her.
Mm-hmm.
She did tarot card readings as well, but boy, she used to look at spirits all around her
Yeah,
and have conversations with them.
right.
And then, obviously, my mom is telling me, "Oh no, she's just going a little nutty." And then I knew better. I knew better. So, um, and so growing up, understanding that, I used to see a lot of spirits growing up when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them weren't very nice either.
Yeah, yeah, of
So,
course.
I used to, like ask my grandmother, "What do you do when you encounter something that is not good? You know it's not good."
Mm-hmm.
And so she had told me is that, it's inevitable when you carry that light.
Yeah.
And so these dark spirits are attracted to that light.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was still a kid at that time. So I used to ask her, "So how do you turn off the light?" And she
Right,
would
right,
laugh
right.
because, like I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They would come and be a distraction to me and scare the heck out of me. But then, as you get older, you become a lot stronger and you become a lot more aware of where you stand physically versus where they are spiritually.
Right.
We have a lot more strength than we give ourselves credit
Right.
in order to shoo these bad spirits away. My grandmother says, stomp your feet and curse them out. Don't ever show that you're afraid, you know? And so I did that
Mhm.
and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
I'm on the
So,
same boat with you. You know that I'm like, if I don't want to talk to somebody, I'm just going another time. Or if I have their picture, I'll turn it down and just say, listen, I'm not in the mood to talk to you. If I don't want to talk to somebody on this plane, I don't necessarily have to talk to them on that plane either.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
It's you recognizing them and then understanding, oh, she sees me, she hears me, then I can talk to her, but then they get overwhelming,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And you know that. That's why when it comes to mediumship, that's intense. That's overwhelming,
Yeah.
you know, because they will never leave you alone. And yeah, I have a form of that, but I'm not a full-blown medium.
Yeah,
It
but
only
what does the full
happens
blown medium mean? What does that really?
full blown when they actually talk to you, when you're with that person and they're telling you, tell them this,
Oh,
tell them that, you know, like and then you get images.
right.
And so you recognize your own images in the form of conversation with the spirit.
Okay, I got you. See, like with
You know,
me,
like they'll throw you a whole bunch of images, and so you're gonna have to narrow those down. Eventually, when you keep doing it over and
yeah,
over again, they'll repeat those images, and so then you associate those images with the conversation, with the situation,
I
and stuff like that.
now I think sometimes with me that's what'll happen. I'll get images. Other times I see like a photograph or
Yes.
names or something will be um, it'll be easy for me to interpret. So, when we say we hear, it's in our mind's eye. It's like the first name or the first words. Um, it's really quite interesting, especially if somebody's trying to get resolution over something. So for
Right.
me, and this is how it ties into the tarot, um, I'll draw cards. I'll get the feeling if somebody's around, and again, please, everybody out there, and I can see like Starlet has something there. A lot of people are chiming in on this one, but with me, I'll draw a card. I go the feeling, and I'm going to start throwing the cards down, and then what I see or feel, I'm going to tell the client. And it's funny. Like I did something yesterday, and the person she really wanted to speak to actually came in second. Two people
Huh.
came through for the client, and it's funny because she goes, "Wow!" Because if my mother didn't come through, I wanted to talk to my best friend. Alrighty. So what happened was is her best friend came through first, and then her mother
Oh,
came through. So it was
okay.
really odd. And for all of you out there, how it works with me is I'll start throwing the cards down, and it'll relate to an incident that would be related to that client. So let's say, Rosa, I'm reading for you now. We've shared a lot of experiences together. So let's say, and you're going to laugh at this one. So suppose, I'm drawing the cards and I'm trying to contact Rosa, and then a car comes up. You're
Mm.
gonna giggle on that one, all righty. And then and
Yeah.
then maybe the blade. Now I'm using Lenormand, so that would mean an accident that happened with a car. You
Ah,
get what I'm saying? And then I would go, oh
right.
yeah, boom, that will go with that. And that's just based on silly experiences between Rosa and I. But just to give you an idea how that works, that it works differently for Rosa, and it may work very differently with you. So like Jean writes, it goes hand in hand nowadays. I get messages before they arrive. So I bet you, Jean, and please chime in on this one, that maybe the cards are almost a cheat. Aren't they sometimes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
sometimes it's like when you walk into a room and you smell sage, all of a sudden you're in a different zone, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing when I pull the cards out, and then all of a sudden all this information starts coming through because it opens up something in my subconscious. It's purely
Yeah.
psychological on that end, but psychology, the science of it ties in, so perfectly.
Yes.
So you can see that there's a lot here. Hi, Nancy, Anthony, Joanne. It's so good to see you. Hi, Kevin. I haven't seen you in forever. So we have a lot. Like Jean is also a medium, so I know she does work like with that. And forgive me, there's a fly in here again. Probably attracted to the light because we shut the lights in here. So that's kind of how it works for me. And hello, Lisa and Sherry. Now, with doing divination, today is new moon, but we're really close to Samhain. So I thought this was a really good subject to touch on because the veil is getting very thin. So people are
That's
coming
right.
through like gangbusters lately on my end. You know what I mean? Now, my ancestors may be there or the people I love may be there, but obviously I'm still a little emotional about certain aspects with my son and all that. But I'm trying to separate the two because emotionally I might be too invested in that, and I'd rather,
Yeah.
let's say, Rosa, you contact him, you know what I mean, or something. Though even
Right.
you might be too emotional, you know what I mean. But yeah, I got it. All right. She gave me the look. She's gonna, you know what I mean. But you kind of get the idea. I don't know how it works with everybody out there, but if it's contacting your own ancestors, do you think you're too biased? Do you have easy access to your ancestors? Because I'll throw cards, especially for like my grandmother who did read, and see what information, will come through. But it's the cards. I wouldn't say that that's full blown mediumship.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm just looking to see. Today I heard, oh wow, yeah, Jean wrote an experience she had today. Jean, it's a little hard for me for some reason. It's not letting me open up your entire message, but Jean is referencing something that happened to her today. And as I mentioned yesterday, I did a reading and two people came through. But there have been times when people have asked me, "Do you feel anybody?" And I got to be honest, it's like it's a no. It doesn't happen all the time. I try my best,
Yeah.
but it doesn't.
You'll go crazy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely. And
You gotta shut off sometimes.
it is, and like you said, it's a great idea to shut them down once in a while too. So I don't know how everybody out there does it, but to also turn off that communication because you don't want them in your head all the time. Maybe you want to throw out some ideas as to what you do in order to not let people take real estate up in there,
Yeah.
in your heart, third eye, and all that other stuff. Because I don't know about you, Rosa, but they'll keep me up at night if I didn't properly. And sometimes properly just means I honor you, I thank you for allowing me to hear you and see you and to communicate for you. And I did what you wanted me to do for your ancestor, your relative, and peace be with you. I always thank them. But then there are times where it's just like, yeah, maybe they're a bit pushy and they don't want to leave because maybe there's more information and the client's done or something like that. So sometimes I'll sage. Black tourmaline, I feel, is a good crystal.
Number one.
Yeah, right. And labradorite,
Yeah.
um,
Labradorite. Labradorite is great, but you're opening yourself up with the labradorite.
do you feel it'll
I find
work?
that, yeah. But you like hematite, black tourmaline, any of the heavy dark stones,
Yeah.
like onyx, I don't know what other, even like snowflake obsidian,
Oh yeah.
all of those guys, all of those kind of guys, they're really good to have around, especially when you want that wall up so you don't get bothered all the time.
Right.
I usually have them by my nightstand
Yeah, it's on my
because
Google.
at nighttime, they come at you when you're at your like most open, when you're asleep.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And it's not a problem when you're dreaming and you're trying to get, like you get information through your dreams and stuff like that. Because I get that, all the time. And that's good and dandy. But, once the session is over, it's over. You got to let them know
Right.
it's done. So, and if they're insistent, then you just have to put some wall up,
Oh,
you know,
here's what we got.
with
All
with
right.
the with the.
So I'm looking at Jean's. If for some reason now it opened up and it said, "This is from Jean. Today, before reading, heard mother. I'm not sure her mother or heard mother. Saw a blinding light. Then name Sherry. All right, Jean, I'm not too sure as to what you're trying to say here, so I'm not going to read that because I think it's going to come up wrong. Hello, Ian. I hope I got everybody here. And again, everybody post where you're from because that gives me an idea as to how wide-reaching the show is. And if you would, hi, Annabelle. Woo! I haven't seen you in forever. Share this on your timelines because the participation would be awesome. So people would see and then they can join. So this is open to everybody. So these experiences are very, very different. Hello, Michelle. I love seeing all my students and everybody here. And by the way, Rose has been reading for God knows how long, probably as long as me, if not longer.
Long as you? Yeah.
Yeah, right about the same
Mhm.
time. We came
Yeah.
from the same neighborhoods with the same age, and we met each other up here. You figure that out. You figure that out. Yet we're like soul sisters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, when I'm 90 and she's 90, we're still gonna complain to one another. So that's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Hello, Rose. Yay! Starless from Syracuse, and now we have Central PA from Annabelle. That just gives me an idea as to how far we're going. And next week we will do another unboxing, but I'll let you know what that is in my posts and everything. So, and there's Sherry again. Hello, sweetie. Sherry, by the way, got a copy of the herbal deck that I unboxed 2 weeks ago, and she's in love with it. She is totally
That's
in
cool.
love with it. Hey, Cheryl, it's good to see you. It's good to see so many people here. By the way, Cheryl um, here has a wonderful shop called Notions and Potions in Beacon, and my daughter actually reads there. So that's a little plug, Cheryl. I hope you hear that one. And hello, Lynn. So yeah, I'm terrible. I'm terrible with that. You know what I mean? But you know what? If you're a good shop and you network together, there's strength in
Absolutely.
numbers, not as an individual thing there. But it's good to see so many people up there. But she is in Beacon on Main Street, and it's worth checking out her shop. She's got a lot of crystals and tarot and lots of things going on over there in Beacon. And Sherry says she loves that deck. Yeah, it's really neat. And actually, Rosa, I should really open it up for you because Rosa is also an herbalist, and you will like it because it really, ties in the aspects, the magical aspects of the herb.
Of the herbs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
together with the tarot. But it's really different than there's another deck that's based on Rider-Waite that has, I
Okay.
think it's just called the herbal deck. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's very different. Like this one is almost like a whole system. So I'm really
Oh,
having
cool.
yeah, I'm having fun studying the deck. So it's really kind of neat. I'm saying hi to
All right.
everybody as they're passing by my window over there. Obviously I'm facing the front of my store so I can see everybody walking by, and I'm getting one of them here. But getting back to the subject at hand. Um, there are two decks that I particularly like when I'm doing work. Hello, Tina. So one of my very, very favorite decks when I'm doing divination work. And Rose, you might recognize this because you sold this to me. When Rose used to have a shop in Sugarloaf, New York, which is right outside of Chester. And this deck really, really, really speaks to me. Thank you, Cheryl. It really speaks to me because I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to show you something and to tell you why. Let me see if you can see this. I know there's a bit of glare, but do you see the eyes? All right,
Yeah.
they're white.
Mhm.
There's no pupils in this. And let me just see if I can draw another deck. This is called the Sacred Rose. And you can see there are no pupils in the eyes, and they're just white.
Mhm.
And for some reason, this deck takes me to another realm by seeing the eyes being white. It's very ethereal.
Mhm.
And again, I'm sure it's very psychological because it looks eerie, right? Here's another one, which is actually quite a beautiful card. All right, so that's the Knight of
Mhm.
Cups, and you could see the eyes. So it has a very mystical look to me. And so when somebody asks me, just tell me who's here, and I will do my best, and I'll draw from this deck. Another deck that I've had really good success with is Lenormand. So
Mm.
the Under the Roses Lenormand deck also seems to work for me. And again, it's probably the artwork. It's very Victorian. I should have brought my deck out here. I brought this one. I remembered it. I carried it with me. But I think you get the idea. It has to do
Mm.
with the imagery of the deck. Hi, Craig. It's the imagery here that kind of calls to me. So if I'm doing some work, I will try. Sometimes people hit it on me unexpectedly. They'll sit down and go, who's here? And I'm like, well, did we book a mediumship thing? And that's okay. I'll just say I will see, because I kind of like to meditate a little bit or take a couple of breaths to kind of clear my mind. I'm a bit ADHD, a little hyperactive at times, my mind. And so I try to, shut it down just a little bit and allow, the imagery come to me. Do you have a particular ritual that you do before doing some of that work?
Um, well, like you say, you tend to center myself, quiet my mind.
Right,
Um, I actually also, because I do Reiki, I throw the symbols on me
right,
in order to protect myself. So then when I am done,
right.
that I don't carry or walk away with them harassing me. So, so that helps too. And just preparing to accept and open my crown chakra so that it could really bring in the information that is needed for that person that I'm doing the reading for.
Right, right,
you know
right.
so it's a lot of times I don't really do mediumship work, but sometimes it just happens spontaneously.
I've seen
I'll
you do
just say,
mediumship work, so don't
right.
don't don't downplay your talent. She is.
Well,
I'm just like,
I would like what would happen what would happen if I'm doing a reading and then all of a sudden I'll get like somebody telling me something continuously, like repeating at me.
right.
So then I'll say, hey, I have something nagging at me, and then I'll present it, and they'll freak out on me. They're like, "Oh my God, this is what I've been wanting to know." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
It's and it took a long time for me to kind of fine tune that, because I always think, is it me? Is it just voices in my head, or is it my imagination?
Right.
So sometimes that self-doubt comes into play. And I'm sure I'm not the only one,
Oh yeah, I get it.
that carry that gifts, and you know, and also people will throw at you like, you sure that isn't not something that you're inventing in your head, or are you like a slightly schizophrenic, and you hear voices in your head, and that's
Yeah,
why you say the things you do. So, when people throw things like that at you, it just makes it more difficult for you to relax
yeah.
and just allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not you, it's the other spirits that are, coming in and,
Well, it's a funny thing.
giving you the information.
So glad you brought that up, because when people say, is it your imagination, and I think I was the same thing, and I bet you it's with like almost 100% of the people out there. You kind of doubt yourself because of that. But
Hmm.
what is imagination? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, you're right, but
when you're doing the cards and you're doing work like this, then is it really imagination? I've learned to say no, or imagination is my subconscious opening up when I'm doing words. If I'm not doing the cards, then c'est la vie, whatever it is. Hey, I'm going to draw something, or I'm inspired to do
Mhm.
something, or
Yeah.
I don't know, because imagination leads to creativity. We know that. But is it really different when you're in the midst, or you're in a circle, or you're in your sacred space? Is it really imagination? So what I've learned is to jot things down even when I'm doing readings. And then when the client goes, well, what's that? And I said, this popped into my head. I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I'm going to give this information to you and you tell me if it's relevant. So
Hmm.
I've learned not to denigrate what comes to me, because I may not understand it, but the client does.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I think hello, Mish. It's good to see you out there. It's the same thing. And by the way, Mish is an amazing artist. And Mish, would you put the name of your store out there, because she does all of the artwork here in Cornwall on the windows, and she's doing these beautiful um, uh, t-shirts and tote bags and all that other stuff. And she just put one up that had what looked like an athame with a skull on the top, and the whole thing was just amazing. So I won't do you justice to your company, Michelle Rip for now. I call her Mish. And I have some of her artwork here, but please, you've got to see her work. It's absolutely wonderful. So getting back to this, I think I went on that little side tangent because her work seems to speak to me. Because when I saw that picture, that also opened up something, and it was so
Wow.
relevant to Samhain that it went right there, because I wanted to talk to her about that piece. But that's kind of how that's been working for me. And in my early days, I made sure I kept a journal. Other times, I'll just now tell a client, listen, this is what I see. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And again, I think my tarot is a cheat, but I always use my tarot.
I would say that is just another way of communicating. It's just an added, it's a tool,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, um, I wouldn't really consider it as a cheat because, as you throw the cards, things start to form,
yeah.
and and then you get more than what the cards are displayed,
Oh,
and it just
yes.
so it's not really a cheat. It's almost like it starts your motor basically,
Yes, it does. Hi, Rain.
you know.
Yeah. Oh, I like the way
So
you put that.
as
Start your motor.
yeah, and that's what I love about the tarot because, at the moment you're throwing the cards, you have no idea what's going to come up. You don't know
Yeah.
what information is going to come through. And just one card out of the whole set can just make the whole story. It'll just bring
Hands
everything
down.
together.
Hands
And so
down.
that is like the most amazing thing. It still blows my mind. It still fascinates me as I throw the cards, how different and how individual it is per person
Yeah.
when I read.
Yep.
You still have the same deck of cards, but as you throw those cards, now it's picking up that energy for that person
Yep.
and what is vital and what information is vital for them. And then you take it from there. And then whatever else spirits that come through to give you more information, it does.
Yep. Yep.
So I
It's
think
not
it's
for us to
wonderful.
decide how important that information is.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I would keep a journal, because my mind, my mind is like a sieve. Everything falls out of it once it goes in there. Hey, Cosma, Mike, and Alessandro. Good to see so many people out there. Mike, you're far away. You don't. He gave me a deck of cards that I'm going to be given as a gift down in the future for everybody. But it's true. Like I said in the beginning, I really wrote down a lot of those images that I would get. And I think it's really important, and for everybody. Again, I'm not sure how you do things like this, but if you've worked with people who have passed on from circumstances that were less than ideal, okay, am I
Mm,
being ethic? All right,
mhm,
I'm gonna just say suicide, or
mhm,
an unnatural death, whether it was
mhm,
murder or something along those lines. And I've had people ask me what happened. I've had people help me to, you know, ask me for guidance in that. And those are the times when, you know, it's a lot less glamorous than people make it out to be. And it's not like, you know, the shows and everything. And sometimes, you know, again, like all of you, sometimes it's really rough
Oh yeah.
to give that information out. But I feel it's kind of rewarding because if it gives closure to somebody,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah, you know, and that would be my reward. I would say. Again, I don't want to talk for everybody else, but you know,
No, but that you're absolutely right about that. I
yeah,
had one reading years and years and years ago. This woman, she was a mother, and she lost her son with an accident,
yeah,
and she wanted to make sure that it wasn't an accident where another car hit him, and then he reared to the side. And so, for whatever reason, I got a big deer that came in front. And I even described it wasn't a car, it was a truck. It was green, dark green. And he reared away from the deer and went into a ditch and pretty much, it killed him,
oh, right,
And yeah. And so she was I was pretty shocked with myself as well as her being shocked with the fact that I gave her that information.
right.
And it's one of those things, it's very random. It just like, okay, I get this image. Okay, this is what I see. This
I,
is, what's happened.
hello.
This is,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, it's one of, you just gotta accept what comes through,
Yeah,
and just kind of like, they want to know. They want to know. So you have to give it to them. And no matter how devastating it can be,
yeah,
um, she did appreciate it. At first, she just didn't want to
right,
accept the fact that it was a natural situation where, it was an animal that hit. She wanted justice.
right.
And I get it. That was her kid, and
Yeah, I
my heart was breaking for her
yeah,
because I have children too.
mm-hmm.
So, but this is what I saw,
Yeah,
and basically the deer didn't get hurt, so there was really no, um, what do you say? Basically, evidence of any animal blood or anything like that,
because
because the way he swerved, and he just
mm-hmm.
went off the road and that was it.
Right.
So, and that's one of those experiences in reading. And usually I don't remember readings after I'm done with the readings, but there were certain ones that really still highlight after
Yeah.
years and years,
Oh,
that still stay with me. And that's one of those
right.
that I had an experience with.
I agree, and what an honor it is that they have the trust in you to relay the information correctly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they don't know you from Adam. And
Right.
I've had readings where I actually literally got a hand, but I turned out that I got the hand because the person that was coming through was pissed off that my client didn't get the message
Um,
and had to come to
mm,
me. And it was really, really quite funny. You know, the way it was, I'm like, I'm telling the client, I'm like, I'm getting the hand. I'm like, she's telling me talk to the hand. And she started to laugh because then she knew who it was. You know what I mean?
uh,
And then, you know, that humor came through and that little bit of being pissed off would come through. You know what I mean? But a memorable one for me was when somebody had come to me and uh, I'm trying to make sure I get this all right. It wasn't a relative. It was a friend or an acquaintance. It was an acquaintance that she knew that had died.
mhm,
And the rumors around this person's passing was, you know, there was this rumor, this one was killed, this one was accidental, and this one was this and that. And I'm like, and I'm going, okay, if this is an acquaintance, how come you wanted this is very personal. And she's going, because the person that passed away, that person's cousin is reaching out to me and I don't know what to say. So I said, okay, let's see what we've got. And if anybody's ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich, where you kind of see through John Malkovich's eyes, so it's like this, and I'm seeing it like this, and that's what came through, and it came through almost immediately. And what I kept seeing was this, sideways. I didn't see an upright vision, and what I kept seeing was a pair of brown corduroy pants. So all I kept seeing, so it was as if they're in a car, because I could see it was a car, and I saw brown corduroy pants, and my client jumped because she goes, the person she's reading on, his cousin wears brown corduroy pants. So she's going, well, why was he sideways? And I said, well, let's see. And I kept reading. And what came to me was the old building you and I used to have our shop in Newburgh. And I saw the courthouse. So what it was is he's on his side. I'm seeing the vision sideways, and I'm seeing the courthouse. So he was across the street, sideways view. It turns out that he was dumped on that corner, and he was dead.
Wow.
And so the putting it all together was he overdosed on drugs that was given to him by his cousin, and he was warning her not to go to the cousin.
Oh,
you get it? So I hope
wow.
if you see that, you understand where I'm coming from. It wasn't like, hey, this person did this and did that. He newly passed away, so I'm not sure that he would be able to, give me those words, but he showed me his vision. And mind you, it's not me, it's on the client that's asking, but she was worried about going to see his cousin. Instinct was telling her. And then my putting it together is, don't you dare. Don't go to him. Don't go to the party. Don't go to anything. They were going to have a thing for the cousin. And it turns out you get it. So you put two and two together. And that was a big warning. And I was like shaking when I got out of that reading. I had to ground myself. It was here at the store. And I was just, I can't believe it, because I guess he was letting me know because I knew the area so well. You know what I mean? And I knew exactly where it was and where on, exactly where it was. And she flipped out. And it was like, nope, don't flip out. It's not me, it's him. He's just allowing me to warn you. So it's really you're just coming to me to help you out, with this information. So, again, for all of you out there, I'm sure there are many others. Hey, Hannah, it's good to see you. And Doreen is out there, and John is out there. Hi, Leah. So, it's not every person or person who practices divination or medium sees things quite that way. And it's certainly nothing like the movies. Nothing like the movies. And you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was really, and she was a young girl. It was a young girl who was asking me, because I said, listen, your instincts were telling you. You're just asking me to confirm your instinct and what was going on, because something about this person's cousin was really scaring me.
Wow.
And that's how I'm looking at that. Hello, Carol. So anybody out there, what are your experiences? Have you ever had to deal with something so heavy duty? Is that Mike behind you?
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's
hello, Mike.
getting ready to feed the dog.
So anybody that's out there, I know that there are many out there. What is your opinion? How do you deal with that? And like I said, nowadays, because of Samhain being right around the corner, the veil is very thin. And, spirit is through, quite at this point. So, how are you dealing with it? Do you use tarot to do that? Do you use the runes, or do you use your pendulum to help, contact the other side? Is it intentional for you, or does it just happen out of the blue? you know, because that's happened to me too. And then I just go, I want to sleep. You know what I mean? Oh, look, I'm getting blown kisses by your husband over there. Mike showed up. Yeah, there he goes. All right. Yep, of course. Tommy's
Never
different,
end.
so you know what I mean. You know, so like to all of you who are new at this, if this helps you anyway, here we go. So Mary writes, I had a premonition about taking a flight to the UK. It was a trip from hell. I knew that I shouldn't have gone, but I made the trip. But she's paid dearly from it. Mary, I remember that story. So like here's and she's a very experienced witch, so she does a lot of work. In fact, she's actually done work for me because sometimes I'm too emotional advised, you know, and stuff. But Mary had a terrible trip when she went to the UK, and something was telling her not to go. But you know, you get
Wow.
excited and you put that to the side because she's so passionate about music. It was related to her music, and then she had a whole experience in dealing with that. So she knew, you know, I think she just knew that she probably shouldn't have gone, or maybe delayed it, or maybe taken another flight. You know, so that is Mary. That's a wonderful example, and thank you for sharing that with us. And you know what? We've all had those feelings, right? You go like, "Damn it! I knew I shouldn't have gone, or I should
Yeah.
have done." But I've learned to not let my ego get in the way and throw a reading on something as to whether I should or should not do something.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you know, not only is Samhain coming, but we're also coming into Mercury retrograde again, right? You know, so
Yeah.
I'm going to explain Mercury retrograde, but I'm going to, hi, Michelle. I'm going to explain how you could work retrograde along with the dark season now. Okay. It's Hecate's time, it's Demeter's and Persephone's time. It's a time to go within. So, and please, Rosa, jump in on this. But the way I always explain Mercury retrograde is this: if Mercury is the planet of communication, all right, blah, communication, all right,
Mhm.
everything to do with communication, phones, computers, your mouth, you know, all that, emotions, right? Um, if it's in retrograde, and retrograde, you know, going retro means going back or what
Mhm.
was. So it appears as if Mercury is going retrograde. It really isn't scientifically, that isn't the case, but Mercury goes into retrograde three, sometimes four times a year for about 3 weeks at a time. So if you're doing workings, it is said that you shouldn't do contracts at this time. Start something new at this time. It's a good time to keep your mouth shut and then formulate something and then deal with it later. But Mercury retrograde is a great time to finish projects.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you
Absolutely.
work with retrograde properly, you start before the shadow period if possible, and that's usually, you know, a week or so before. You start a project and you will finish it in the 3 weeks that Mercury retrograde gives you for shutting up. And I'm using humor, but it is a time to go within, finish those projects. Maybe there's um, work that you need to formulate that you've been putting off, fixing your home, those books that you have piled up like I do, like this. It's a good time to do, like we're Tommy and I are renovating our home, so it's a perfect time to do that. You know, it's not something new. We're already in the process of doing it, but it's a good time to cleanse the home, work on the home, work on us, all right? Work on, you know, those things that you've been putting away. Perfect time to do it because don't you naturally do that this time of the year, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. You get the urge to start crocheting again, doing your crafts again. The days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer. You're eating heartier foods. You're working more within the home. So that means working more within yourself. if you can combine those two energies, you really got a powerful time to go within and pull within you that needs to be worked on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, right? Would
Absolutely.
you agree on that?
You hit it. You hit it on the nose with everything.
It's
I don't have to input. So
well,
you did good.
it's why I was so happy that we started the renovations. We have this tiny little home, and I call it the shoebox. But it's a loving because I love where we live. You know the view that I have. I don't want to go anywhere. This is where I want to be. And so we're renovating it and making it our own, and it's just I'm so excited. Like every little bit helps, and we're going to continue that throughout retrograde. And I know that there are books that I need to finish, you know, and I want to start my plans for this show. You know what I mean? Like I have a lot of time to be
Yeah.
able to do
And
that.
move forward with it. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and that's what I'm kind of working on, and that's Mercury retrograde is a good time to do that. But now that we're in the dark portion of the year, it's a perfect time to do that. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? That's the story of Demeter and Persephone, and you know what Samhain or Halloween is all about. So I'm
Hmm.
looking at the time, and I'm going to get started with our reading for the week. All righty, and let's see. We got hi, Linda. Um, so I'm going to use my deck, and Rosa, if you also want to chime in on this one, but
Okay.
until next week, I figure it's perfect because next week will be past Samhain, so it'll be excellent. So I will do. Rosa, you pick it, a one card reading or a three card reading?
Let's try with the one card reading.
Okay, so we have
Let's
a
do,
one
do
card.
one card.
So I'm going to read for the rest of the week. All right. So the card that I'm picking. Ah,
Go figure.
yeah, the High Priestess.
There you go.
Oh, this is a wonderful card. There is a lot going on in this card. So I think it's kind of perfect because I'm leading a rather large ritual for Samhain. I hope you come in, Rosa.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I like
I
that.
would love it.
I put you on the spot. I put you on the spot there. So, you know, sisters can do that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So the High Priestess, number 2 in the Sacred Rose deck. I'm sorry about the glare there. Alrighty. So the High Priestess, if I'm just looking at this intuitively, it makes me think, for my advice, the ritual that is coming up on Friday. If anybody wants to come to this ritual, it is $5. It helps us with the cost of the expenses that it does, you know, cost to hold on to this. It is at Palaya Vineyards, alrighty, and that's at 10 Sweet Clover Road. It is Friday at 6:30. You have to be there on time. Please bring a lit little pumpkin if possible and dress warm, okay? Because we are in the woods. It gets cold. Anyway, so it makes me think of the ritual. I want to make sure that that ritual is really good. Now, getting back to, you know, the imagery in the cards, you could see the moon below her, and you could see the triple moon as her crown. So again, perfect for this time of year. There will be a bonfire, Mary. Um, and you could see she literally, it's supposed to be the Torah that is in her hands, all right? And that's based on imagery from the Rider Waite deck. And women weren't allowed to touch the Torah, never mind study the Torah. But here, this card is saying, go for it, study, give the information to people as needed. Oh, your daughter is on, the lovely is here. Hey, sweetheart. Um, and so she's there imparting that information onto others. Everything about this card is really esoteric. You could see the two pillars, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly because I study a lot of different things. But Boaz and Joaz has to do with balance, but there's a lot more to the story with that. That's very Masonic temple stuff that's there. But you could see her hair is long and flowing, and everything about her is about imparting knowledge to others. So me looking at this as a personal thing, I am looking at this as do my research for the ritual to make this a good one. Um, how um, how would you interpret that, Rosa?
Well, I'm loving it for the fact that, since we're like hitting close to Mercury retrograde and everything, and because to me, the moon and the way it's in the crest, it's like in a progress,
Yeah,
in progress. And I just feel that I mean, it's so fitting for this time of year
yeah,
with the with Samhain around the corner and everything. So, like we were talking about, like you were talking about Mercury retrograde, picking up a lot of stuff that has been pending.
yeah.
This is going to be a great time to pick up stuff and start working through it and finishing it up and all this kind of stuff. So for me, with that is also doing like spiritual exercises too,
Mm, right. Oh, I like that.
especially, I find, especially in this time of year, you do more meditation, more opening up your third eye, going through the practices to really fine tune your senses, bring forward your intuition. Um, Even with material work, that has a lot of like mental, emotional, and spiritual effort that goes into it
Right.
as well.
Hmm.
So, this is a perfect card for that,
I
you
love
know?
it. And anybody out there, if you have your interpretation of this card, post it in the comments, because it never really just ends with the show. I know we only have about 5 minutes to go, but continue the conversation, because I will answer them. I might be, I'll close down the store and everything, but I'll go back on the forum and see what everybody has posted there, because it's important to see what everybody comes up with in regards to this. And Cheryl, that would be awesome. I would love that. And hello, Tina. We have a lot of Tinas on here today. You know what I mean? And oh, that's awesome. There's just so many people here. I'm really excited about this. So, there is a lot. And believe me, I know that we could talk about mediumship and divination probably for hours, but I don't
Yeah.
think that lends itself to this forum at this point. But maybe I was thinking about doing a tarot share here where we compare
Mhm.
decks and read for one another, and it'd just be like a $5 thing if everybody comes to the store and we just share readings with one another, because there's a lot of people who are interested in tarot but have no way to practice it. So
Mhm.
look for that announcement soon, because after the holidays it gets slow here and I'll have more time to throw that in. And that, again, that kind of goes in with Mercury retrograde, because you started something, you're studying, and now you want to practice. So these are
Mhm.
some of the inspirational things that have come to me in regards to retrograde and this time of year. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to do anyway.
Yeah.
We probably BS more than we do anything else. Who knows? You know what I mean? Get a bunch of people together and a bottle of wine, and God knows what happens. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, and the next week I will be unboxing the Urban Tarot. So I'll be posting pictures and the artists, and the writer and all that. I want to make proper do. Oh God, I'm like stumbling over there. And anyway, everybody who's involved with this tarot will be given credit. There we go. Do credit is what I was looking for. So that'll be next week's show. The High Priestess Hecate. Ooh, Mary said that very good. That's perfect. That is awesome, Mary. And by the way, if you come into ritual, we'll be doing some transposition and bringing spirit down. Um, and please join our Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. It's really exploding. Feel free to add people that you feel would benefit from a forum such as this. Again, U.S. Games Systems is now sponsoring us, which is great. So they'll be supplying some awesome decks, whether it's tarot, Lenormand, or inspiration or oracle. It will all work. So we'll be working with them from time to time. So thanks to them, I have the Urban Tarot, which next week we will do that unboxing. And then next week, we will also be announcing our next contest. So we have a lot of great things happening. So to everybody, if I do not see you before Samhain, because many of you are in the area, a blessed Samhain, a safe Halloween to everybody. You all pretty rock, and it's, you know, it's a good time, like we had mentioned, go within, to hold your loved ones. It's a happy new year to many pagans, not for everybody, but for many pagans, it is the last harvest. Just to give you a little heads up on that. And what we mean by the last harvest is not so many grains this time, because we already had 2 harvest festivals where it's fruits and grains and all that other stuff. Now, you know, back then it's animals. So, you know, people cull their animals, and that would provide food for them for the winter. Again, symbolically, I'm assuming that your puppy's back there.
Yeah.
It is symbolically the time to harvest what you put into action, or harvest what you have sown. Alrighty. So think about that, and what you're going to bring into your life and into your family's lives that will sustain them through the dark months. Again, going within, reaping what you have sown, all that work that you have done. What are you doing now? What are you going to work with for the rest of the season? That's what the last harvest is, and that's what Samhain is about. And you know, if you work solitary, west is usually the portal of the dead. But I said usually, it depends on your tradition, and I know a lot of people do things differently. If you're working as a solitary, try to help the solitaries as well. It's always a good idea to set out an altar. An altar could be anything from a candle to a picture of your loved ones, to, you know, offering a bit of food or something that they would have liked. If somebody liked a good cigar, you could put a cigar there. If they liked a good stiff drink, you know, you could put a drink out there. You know, you light a candle. Usually water is good. Everybody loves water. But, you know, I've always left food, or like for Alex, for my son, he loved science and he loved video games, and we enjoyed the same music. So I might play a song for him. You know, something along those lines. You kind of get the idea. It's very personal. There is no one way of doing it, but it's a good time to honor your ancestors. Speak to them. It's a good time to do it, right? So many people have different traditions here. So many blessings to everybody. Rosa, I love you dearly.
Thank you. I love you too.
I love you too. And as I mentioned, Rosa is here on Wednesdays and or by appointment. If you're looking for more information about the tarot, please join our Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. And am I missing anything? I feel like I'm forgetting something and I don't know what it is. I probably got it all, but who knows? And then later on, if I forget about it, I'll remember it. It'll be on the forum. But thank you for all of your support. You have all been wonderful, and I can't tell you what it means to me to see the show do so well and the divination forum just blow up the way that it has. So until next Monday, you all freaking rock. And I hope you all know that, because you don't need me to tell you that. And thank you, because I learned from you, and I know I can speak for Rosa on that. She learns as much from you and all of us as I hope comes from me to you. But this is the way to build community and share information with one another. Remember, together we stand. When you start to see people breaking other people down, be aware of that. All righty. Yeah. So, blessings, 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 blessings to everybody. And you're all pretty awesome. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye, sweetheart.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, honey.